Hello friends, I'm Rosa. Welcome to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. So I've kind of done it again. Let's just say I impulse purchase a lot of books. Some are purchased because of the amazing covers, some are sequels that I just want to read because I love the first book in the series. Some I've bought because they're super hyped on social media. Some I've also been sent, actually. But it means I've gathered about 22 books that I feel like going through with you guys. So today we are doing a book haul. A lot of these are special editions, mainly from Fairy Loot, Illumicrate, and also Owlcrate. I will link to all three websites and also their Instagrams in the description box down below. And just in case you don't know, I am a rep for Owlcrate and I do have a discount code that you can find in the description box. I think it gives you 15% off your first subscription if you are interested. And I'm also a rep for Fairy Loot for this term, so their books I've actually been sent, which I am very thankful for. But just thought I would say that as a disclaimer. Anyway, enough pre-talk. Let's get into showing off all these books. Isn't that the fun part? I think it is. Let's get started. As per usual, you can find links to all the books both on US Amazon and Book Depository in the description box down below. And along the timeline, you can find chapters. So if there's a genre that you like a little bit more than another genre, you can click on there. I don't know how many of the genres I have represented today, but you can figure that out or find out in the timeline right here. But anyway, let's get started. So the first books that I got to show are actually, it's two. It's the same book. I kind of like this because they look so different from each other, right? Both are Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This is the Owlcrate edition, which is a take on the US cover. It's a color change. It's just black. The original cover is more like this one, actually. And this is the Illumicrate version, and it's completely redesigned. They kind of took inspiration from both the US and the UK covers and kind of put them together and came up with this. It has stenciled edges that look like this. Oh, by the way, if you want to see a video where I go through all my special editions, let me know. It's not like I have like a ton, but I do have some, so if that's any interest to you, let me know. Yeah, we're starting out with young adult fantasy, but these are also kind of horror, mystery a little bit. So we follow a girl called Olivia, who I believe is mute. I think that's the term. She communicates via sign language, at least. She can't speak. She's an orphan. Her parents have disappeared, and so she's sent off to a girls' school where she's been staying for a while until one day she receives a letter from her uncle who summons her back to his estate called Gallant. So she takes off to Gallant. When she gets there, she finds out that her uncle is dead. She's not really greeted in a very nice way by her cousin. There's a couple of servants there that are very nice to her though. And they also tell her that she has to follow two rules to stay at Gallant. One being you cannot leave your room at night. The other one being you may never cross the wall that you can see from the estate. And that is pretty much Gallant. It's a very nice short little read. Took me about 2.5 hours, I think. Something like, it's maybe 3, I don't know. Very short read though. Would highly recommend reading it in one sitting too. I think that's what V.E. Schwab herself said was the best way to read it, and I agree with that. But that is pretty much Gallant. So actually, since they're special editions, I think I'm gonna show them off a little bit more so you get to see like what's going on in them. We have some end papers. On the Illumicrate edition, there's also some foiling on the naked cover. Showed you the gorgeous stenciled edges already with the roses and the dead plants down here. I don't know. As for the Owlcrate edition, it also comes with end papers that look like this and has some foiling on the naked cover too that looks like this, and this is a quote from the book. But that was Gallant. First two books down. Next one to go. So next up we have The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. This is also young adult fantasy, but I do believe there's a little bit of romance in there. And this is the Fairy Loot edition, so it has an exclusive cover. I think it's a color change. Don't exactly remember how the original looks, but I think it has a little bit more like a lavender blue feel to it. It also has stenciled edges. I believe this is a sea dragon, I think at least. It's quite pretty. If only my camera would focus on the stenciled edges instead of me. Thank you. It also comes with gorgeous end papers that look like this. They are actually like, when I opened the book I was like, whoa, they're so pretty. Also back end papers look like this. And there's also a lot of foiling on the naked cover that I hope you can see. It's a dragon and our lead girl as well. So it's a very cute copy. I do like this like cream color with the blue. I think it's quite nice. Mostly though, I love the coral color they went with for the cover. Very, very cute book. But anyway, in this book, we follow our lead girl who lives in a village that has kind of been ravaged by storms and stuff like that. Like it's not going too well for them. I feel like that doesn't really fully cover it, but the people in this village believe that they've been cursed by the sea god. So every year they sacrifice a maiden from this village to appease the sea god. And it's believed that our lead girl's brother's beloved, whose name is Shimchong, is the maiden that's supposed to kind of change everything. So on the night that Shimchong is supposed to be sacrificed to the sea god, our lead girl's brother follows and kind of, I think he's out to try and save her, but our lead girl knows that interfering with this whole sacrifice business only ends badly. So what she does instead is that she takes Shimchong's place and basically decides to sacrifice herself. And in the process of doing this, she ends up in this underwater world where she finds out that the sea god is actually asleep. So with the help of someone else, a guy, I think they set out to awaken the sea god. Something like that. It's based off, but it's like a feminine twist on a Korean legend also called Shimchong. So I'm excited to read this month actually. Looking forward to it so much, but that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which also I've heard a lot of good things about. People seem to really be enjoying this book, so I'm very excited to be reading it very, very soon. Next up, we have another Owl Crate special edition, and that is Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. This is young adult fantasy, but urban fantasy actually. There's romance in it, and it's also, I want to say it also includes a little bit of historical fiction, but mainly because of time travel. It's not like they're, you know, experiencing historical events or something like that. They just go back in time. And the characters in this book also have powers, or maybe we should call it magic. Something like that. So this is, like I said, an Owl Crate special edition. It has sprayed black edges, an exclusive cover. She used to not, I think she used to be gray actually, but they turned her kind of this turquoise color. Reminds me of Frankenstein's monster. I'm not gonna lie. There's also foiling on the naked cover. And now that I've read the book, I don't actually know what the sword is about, but that's fine. And there is also art on the inside of the dust jacket of our 3 lead characters. 4. Why is there 4? What? Oh, 4 lead characters. Right, not 3. 4. Okay. So in this book, we follow Joan. And Joan lives in London with her family. With her whole family, actually. She has a grandmother who, throughout Joan's life, keeps telling her that she's a monster. And Joan is like, no, I'm not. What are you doing, Grandma? Why would you keep saying that to me? That's weird. But then one day, Joan kind of takes herself by surprise because she is not attacked by a man, but I think they accidentally stumble into each other. And after accidentally touching his neck, she's teleported ahead, like she's teleported forward in time by half a day. All of a sudden, and Joan is just standing there on the street like, what happened? So she runs home. She was supposed to go on a date that day as well. She's very sad about it. Her family notices when she comes home and they're like, instantly, you time traveled, didn't you? And she's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. So as it turns out, her family actually are monsters. What they can do is they can steal time from people. So say that one of them would touch my neck, they could take 2 days off of my life so that my life would end 2 days before it's supposed to, and they could travel forward in time by 2 days or back in time by 2 days. So it's a little bit like an interesting concept in regards to their powers. But as for the story, this whole situation that's going on kind of causes a bit of a domino effect. So something happens and Joan finds herself stuck with the boy from the rival monster family. His name is Aaron, and they have to travel back in time. There's something about a monster hunter as well who's kind of like fated to kill all the monsters, and Joan is just not having it because she doesn't want to get killed. So yeah. That's pretty much what this book is. It's quite interesting. I've already read it if you want to see me talk about it a little bit more. I will link my 24-hour readathon in one of these two corners. My camera is inverted, so I don't know which one, but one of these two. You can go check it out. I feel like I am talking a little bit too much, so I'm gonna try to speed this up. But next book we have was a cover by, so this will be very quick, but it is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Eilen. And I thought, like, I've read a little bit about this book. Obviously, the cover is stunning. Like, we're not gonna hide that. She's a stunner. I read a little bit about this book before I decided to buy it, but it was mainly a cover buy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. She's gorgeous. However, one thing that I found very interesting is that the powers in this book, basically, they have something to do with tea. And I found that very unique. So I was intrigued. And I decided to get it, so that's what this is. But I don't really know what's going on in this book other than that. Can't tell you anything besides it being young adult fantasy. I will read it at some point though, and I'm super excited for that. But she's a stunner, and I think the next one is actually coming out in August or something, so it's pretty soon. Time is flying by, isn't it? Next books are two almost identical books from two different boxes. I have two of Blood Scion by Deborah Fillet. This over here is the Fairy Loot edition, and this one right here is the Owl Crate edition. This has orange sprayed edges, this is blue. There's not much else going on this one other than that, actually, so we're gonna put her aside for now. But the Fairy Loot one has art on the inside of the dust jacket that looks like this. It's very simple, but color-wise, I think it's actually stunning. It also has the cover on the naked cover, which I love. This on its own, beautiful. And also comes with signed custom end papers, which are pretty cool. So in this book, we follow our lead girl who is born with powers. She's called a Scion, I think. Yeah, a descendant of the ancient Orisha gods. So having these powers it's very dangerous for her in this world because she's not supposed to have these powers. I'm guessing that people born with these powers are hunted down and killed, but that's just a guess. Her mom has also disappeared, kind of trying to hide the truth of her child, and her name is Sloane. Sloane herself keeps hiding her abilities and stuff. But then when she's 15, she's dragged into an army of child soldiers, which is just something to note about this book. It's actually based on, I think it's real, or not based on, but like inspired by real events with child soldiers. So again, it's something to keep in mind. But while she's in this army, she both has to hide her abilities, but also has to go through very, very dangerous training. And something that keeps her going while training to be in this army is that the people that are running it, if she can bring them down, she could destroy them from the inside out and basically bring down her enemies. So both the people that see her as a threat because of her powers, but also the people that made her mom disappear. But in the process of doing this, she also kind of risks losing herself in the process. I have heard so many good things about this. It's been super hyped and I'm so excited to be reading this. I've kind of kept an eye on it since sometime last year, actually. And I'm very, very excited to be going into this one. I think maybe next month, I'm not really sure, but sometime soon. I just want to read what it says on the back. This is what they deserved. They wanted me to be a monster. I will be the worst monster they ever created. I'm excited for this. Very, very excited for this. It sounds a bit brutal, but I think I can handle it. So next up, I have also another Fairy Loot edition. It's a paperback and it's An Arrow to the Moon by Emily XR Pan. Actually, when I first got this, I didn't even notice that these two were not on the original cover. I just didn't notice. It's such a gorgeous cover though. I think the original is a little bit more blue, I think, instead of this sort of like yellow, blue, greenish kind of vibe this has. But don't actually know a whole lot about this book other than it is kind of, yeah, it's a retelling or a reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet, and also has like a Chinese mythology spin to it. And I believe it's also urban fantasy. So I am excited to read this at some point. I kept an eye on it before I knew Fairy Loot was going to do a paperback of it in one of their boxes. But then I canceled my pre-order of the hardback, and I don't like to read special edition paperbacks because once you've done this to a paperback, you can't undo it. So I'm in a predicament. I might have to buy the hardback, I'm not gonna lie. Or just the Kindle version. I might go with that one. I don't know, let me know what you think. What should I do? I don't know. Next up, we have... I have so many special editions. This is dumb. Anyway, A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olsen. And in this book, we follow a girl with a very special ability. She can kind of draw things to life. Like, she can make changes to something by drawing it, and what she's drawn will happen in real life. I know. Kind of hard to explain without fully knowing what's going on. Excited to get to know what this whole ability is about, though. Alas, someone in this world that she lives in finds out she has this ability, and she is taken off to an estate where she's told that she has to paint the owner's dead son to bring him back to life. I just had to quickly read the synopsis. It's the governor's son. Important point apparently. But anyway, when she arrives at this estate, she finds out that the son's death wasn't an accident, and there's some stuff happening at the estate too. Some secrets are being unraveled, and she also turns to the governor's older son to get help with these mysteries. I think it's a little bit of like a fantasy murder mystery actually, with magical abilities on top of it, if I remember correctly. So I believe there's some romance in this as well because of that. But yeah, Alcred Special Edition has red sprayed edges, a completely redesigned cover, and it also has very cute foiling on the naked cover, plus a little bit on the back. It's a rose, which I mean I'm a fan of, so. And we also have some art on the inside of the dust jacket that is absolutely stunning. I'm excited to read about these two, I'm not gonna lie. So that is A Forgery of Roses, and she's gorgeous. She's simply a stunner. A portrait is worth 1,000 lies. Why did I never notice it said that on the cover? I never noticed. Okay. Cool. Next up we have one that I think came out in 2020 actually, but I'm a little bit behind on this one. It's Lore by Alexandra Bracken. This was so hyped when it came out. Also, can I just say, I'm not generally a big fan of white covers, which I believe I've said before, but she's beautiful. There's something about this cover, it might be the marble, I don't know what it is, but stunning. The white and the gold, stunning. So I'm not gonna lie, the synopsis for this is a little bit confusing to me, but it's something about not a tournament, but an event that happens every 7 years where the Greek gods are basically turned to humans for a day or a while and hunted down. And if you kill one of them, you get their powers. So our lead girl comes from one of these families that partake in it, and her family has been killed by a guy who now has powers. He's basically a god. Our lead girl also doesn't really want to participate in this event anymore. However, she's one day contacted by an old childhood friend who she thought was dead, and also the goddess Athena, who is not as powerful as she used to be. And Athena kind of offers her something. Something that could mean that our lead girl could be brought out from this whole world for good. Like, she could be out of this whole, like, hunting business for good. But as it turns out, making this deal with Athena might not actually be enough, and humanity's in danger too. So that's a thing. That sucks for us. We have nothing to do with this. Why are they taking it out on us? I don't know. Anyway, just a random note. Have you guys ever thought about what it would be like to be a civilian in the Marvel universe? It would suck, wouldn't it? It would suck so much. This reminds me of that. Yeah. Also, our lead girl's name is Lore. I just forgot to say. But anyway, super excited for this one. One of my friends, Kim, read it recently and told me that she enjoyed it, so I decided to finally get it. When I'll be reading it, I don't know, but I don't really have a lot with Greek mythology in my collection, so I figured it would be a good thing to add a little bit of that to it. And I also don't think Medusa has anything to do with the story, so I don't know why they used her for the front cover. It's still stunning, but like, why? I don't know. But that is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I'm excited for it. Next up, I have a book that I'm actually not fully sure what it's about. I'm not gonna lie, it feels so awkward to say that, but I don't actually fully know. But it's Dark Rise by C.S. Passett. I think that's how you pronounce their last name, but I don't really know. What I do know about this book though is that it is placed in a world where descendants of the light and descendants of the dark have been fighting in a war some time ago, and people are fearing that the Dark King will return and this war will start up all over again. So our lead guy right here is kind of brought into it to prepare for this war. As it turns out, I think it's actually happening. I'm just saying. I don't think they're just fearing it. I think it is going to happen. But what would I know? It's not like it's called Dark Rise. And yeah, it's about light and the light side and the dark side fighting each other because of that, and has something to do with magic as well. I don't really know, so I will be summarizing this when I read it at some point. But I heard many good things about this book, which is why I ended up getting it. I kind of had my eyes on it for, I want to say like 10 months or something, actually, more or less. Something like that. So I'm excited to finally have it, even if I don't know how to summarize it. I think I got the most important points out though. Yes. I have about 3 more young adult fantasy before I have just one sci-fi. So the next one is Year of the Reaper by Makia Lucier. And in this book we follow Lord Cass. I think he's Lord Cass? My mind just went completely to Akotar for a second. Anyway, we follow Cass. Yeah. Cass has been in prison for a while because he disappeared during a war, and then following that war, a plague kind of swept across the country. So he's been in prison, recovering from illnesses. He's now 18 and is basically on the road to go home. However, his home has kind of been taken over by the royal family in this world. And as it turns out, their presence there means that they've also brought along their enemies. So someone close to the queen ends up being either attacked or killed, one of the two, and Cass and a young historian takes it upon themselves to figure out who stands or who is behind this attack. Meanwhile, they also find out some secrets that could basically cause this war to start up again. I think that's what it's about. It's always hard to summarize books that you've not read because synopses can be a little bit misleading sometimes. Most of these I've not read yet. If I said anything wrong about the synopses, I wouldn't know any better. Please don't judge me for it. And then I also decided to get the last Sarah J Maas book that I didn't have. I have it now. And that is Catwoman Soul Stealer. Yeah, Catwoman Soul Stealer, which is basically a book about Catwoman. I don't know what gave it away. Essentially, we follow Selina Kyle, although she goes by a different name now, and she's also rich. I think she's getting into business with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and there's a guy called Luke who, by now, alright, but by the way, Batman is not present. I just want to point that out. Anyway, he's not here. He's out and about somewhere else. But there's a guy called Luke who by night goes by Batwing, and he's a hero. So he's kind of trying to take this trio of women down, if you will. And he's finding it very hard because Catwoman is brilliant, essentially. So while these two, Luke and Selina, or I should call them Batwing and Catwoman, are fighting each other by night. By day, they're actually neighbors and are apparently also spending some time together. And there's something about a heist that I don't really know. But I mean, Selina is a thief, so go figure. I'm excited to read this. I heard many good things about it. And it's Sarah J Maas. I'm a sucker. It's fine. I'll admit it. But I'm very excited to read this at some point. It was the last book of hers that I didn't own. Now I just need the other ones as hardcovers. It'll happen at some point. One day. They're really hard to come by though. Next up, this one is a little bit weird to explain for me because I don't actually fully know what it's about, other than it's about like family and lineage and magic, but it's called The Black Witch. It's by Laurie Forrest. The thing about this one is that I was just random. Sometimes I think it's good to get out of your circle on Goodreads, for example, and come across new titles that you wouldn't necessarily notice if you didn't jump out of your circles, if that makes sense. So what I did was, I was just looking around and I came across this book, and I went on Amazon to check for used copies, and it was a ridiculously low amount. So I ended up getting it, but I don't really know what it's about though, other than magic and family and lineage. And something about a very powerful witch, who I believe will be our lead girl, but I don't fully know. I think it's her. I think it's safe to say that it's her though. But while looking around on Goodreads, when I came across this one, I saw that it had really good reviews and I was intrigued, so I decided to just jump on it when I saw the very low price. Used books are awesome because you can just, like, this is in good condition, you know? It has a little bit of like a crinkle up here. It's definitely been read. It's well loved, but like still good quality, like not quality, what's it called? Condition. Pretty good condition for basically no money. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. And also it has deckled edges. Like, how cool is that? I only have 2 books with deckled edges. Next up, I actually have another used book. It's Sky Hunter by Mary Lou. This copy is so cool. I think it's the standard So it says Sky Hunter on the ends. And it also has, like, that is gorgeous. I love that. It's so pretty. But again, I think it's the standard. They all have it. I'm just amazed they all have it. But what this book is about is, now see, I'm not good at sci-fi. That's a thing. But I'm gonna try to summarize this book for you anyway. I've not read it yet, so this will be great. But basically, in this book, we are in a world that has been overtaken, conquered by a federation. People from the countries that this federation has conquered keep fleeing because what the federation does with the people in these countries is that they, against their will, take the people and turn them into what they call ghosts. Those are basically like creatures that'll fight for the Federation. So the Federation are the bad guys. Yes. I mean, with a name like the Federation, that sounds bad as well, right? But there's still a couple of countries left to conquer, one of them being Mara, and Mara has an elite force that they call strikers. So our lead girl right here is a striker. So she fights these Federation's forces with the rest of the strikers. But then one day they end up getting a mysterious prisoner, and there's something about this guy. I don't really know what yet, but I'll figure it out once I read the book. But there's something about him, at least. So anyway, I'm excited for this. I almost hit my face with the book just then. I don't know if you noticed. I'm excited for this though. I heard many good things about it. So I want to get better at reading sci-fi. I need to get better at it. So I have 3 adult fantasy books. The first one being The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This is the Illumicrate special edition that got sold out in like 2 hours or something ridiculous. It has an exclusive cover that is very holographic. I don't know if you can see, but like that is a lot. I hope it shows off on cam because this is a whole lot in real life, like a whole lot. It has printed edges that look like this. Very, very, very pretty. Gorgeous. Stunning. It also comes with holographic foiling on the naked cover. I think you can see that it's holographic. Like you can see the colors, right? And it also has custom end papers that look like this, both on the front and the back, and it's also signed. I'm so incredibly happy that I got this copy, but honestly, I'm gonna put it down. I don't really know what this book is about, I'm not gonna lie. Other than, I think it has something to do with, yes, the Alexandrian Society. And I'm gonna put it away now because I'm afraid that I'm gonna drop it and damage it, and I don't want to do that. But I'm pretty sure as well that this month we're actually gonna read The Atlas 6 with my book club. So if you wanna, or not this month, next month, sorry. The vote is up right now, but next month we're gonna read The Atlas 6 with my book club. So if you wanna come hang out and join us, I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the pinned comment at the top of the comment section. So I'll know what this book is about next month. I'm very excited because a lot of people seem to be loving it. So, but I'm not gonna read that copy. I'm not touching it. Never again. She's just gonna stand on my shelves and look gorgeous. That's her job. Next one is actually another one that I don't really know what's about because I just never bothered to check. Calling myself out, that's fine. However, I was ordering something off Amazon, and you know how if you don't have Prime and you don't order above, like for us it's 300, so 300 Danish krona, which is like, I think it's $40 US or something. You have to pay for delivery. And I am the kind of person I will not pay for delivery ever, even if it means I have to spend more money. In this case though, delivery is basically the same price as a paperback. So I went through my wish list and I saw 5th season, which over on Illumicrate's Discord server, they've been talking about this, or they had been talking about it at the time that I was making this order. So I was like, I'm just gonna check it out. But I don't know what it's about. It's by N.K. Jemisin, and it's the winner of the Hugo Awards. And that's all I know. It seems to be very popular, or like very well liked, I should say. So that's all I gotta say. The 5th season. I have no idea. I'm excited to read it at some point though. I mean, The Guardian says a gift to the whole of her culture. Those are big words. And then, as a surprise, I got this one from Fairy Loot. It's The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. This has an exclusive cover. It's usually like a very dark gray. Also has sprayed black edges. It also has a whole lot of foiling on the naked cover. Like there's a lot going on here. A lot of skulls and flowers and more skulls. And it also has custom end papers that look like this. And I believe it's also signed. But this came as a bit of a surprise because I don't think Fairy Loot, actually, they didn't tell me that they were gonna send this. I just got a tracking link one day and was like, what is this? What's going on? Oh, it also has a ribbon bookmark, by the way. So this was their April book only adult fantasy subscription, which is a new one. I think before this one they only did the Atlas 6 actually. Super excited about the next book they're doing. I wouldn't mind a copy of that, I'm just saying. But anyway, also the June book, I was so excited for that one. But because of that, I don't really fully know what this is about. And I don't actually want to know, but I'm very curious about this book because what I was told was that it had something to do with vengeful gods, which sounds very intriguing, very dramatic. I believe that it's also a dark fantasy. I do think it's written like, some people have said that it's a bit young adult-ish, so not necessarily full-on adult. I don't mind that too much. I do see why it would bother some people if they're picking up an adult book and they're kind of counting on it being adult and then it turns out that it's a little bit more like leading YA. Personally, I don't mind because I do love YA fantasy, but don't really know what this is about other than that. It says for each realm there is a god and for each god there is an heir. But I'm very, very intrigued. Oh yeah, there's about like 4 realms as well. They have different themes. I read the start of the book because I was so curious. So we have House Mardova and their power is Elementalist. House Seer and their power is Lumen. House Last Strider, their power is Shade. And then House Bakara and their power is Necromancy. So it sounds really cool, but I don't really want to know more than that about it. I just am very curious about this. Like, I was so close to picking this up the other day. I think it's probably gonna happen soon. Yeah, I don't know. Just very curious about it. And we only got 3 books left. The next one is Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee, which I received today. This is the Illumicrate special edition. Not super excited about this cover because not much was changed. I'm just gonna say that. Do love the pastel yellow sprayed edges though. I don't have any other yellow edges, so I was very happy to see that. It also comes with a lot of tigers on the naked cover. And alright, it has art on the inside of the dust jacket. I don't know about you guys, but I preferred when they have art on the end papers instead of on the dust jacket because you actually like, you see the end papers whenever you open the book. So I feel like in that way you just get a little bit more out of it when it's on the end papers instead of the dust jacket. But as for this book, we follow a guy who, he's kind of living the American dream. He's a bit like a perfect kind of guy to his parents at least. He's a great student, he's an artist, I think he's lined up for a good job and everything, but then one day he's contacted by someone who basically wants him to perform a heist. So he's joined by a group of 4 other people to do this. Each have their own kind of like focus, if you will, like their own forte, their own strength. I wonder what his is. Oh, he's probably like the one who knows. I don't really know. He's an art history major. He's the one who knows. That sounds so ominous. I just mean he's the one who knows about art. But basically, this group has to perform a heist to steal back, I think it's 4 pieces of art, 5 priceless Chinese sculptures that were taken from Beijing centuries ago. And if they complete this heist successfully, they end up earning like $50 million. $50 million. And that's what this is about. I have just opened this in an Illumicrate unboxing if you want to check that out. It's in one of the corners. I talked a little bit more about my opinion on this because I'm not super excited for this book pick, but I'll be reading it at some point though, for sure. What I do want to say about the cover though is, so the hand is not on the original cover, and the more that I look at this cover, the more the hand annoys me because it just kind of ruins the balance in the picture. I don't know how to explain it, but it just, the more I look at it, the more I'm annoyed with the hand. So I just try to not. I have 2 more books. The second last is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor, a book that I'm very excited to read. So in this one we follow, what's her name? Janny. We follow Janny. Janny is kind of scraping by. She doesn't have a good job, she doesn't have good pay, but she kind of needs to stay in her routine because she's taking care of her younger sister called Soza. But she's like dreaming of going somewhere else. Like she's done. Then one day, Hotel Magnifique shows up at the city that she lives in. I know that sounds weird. A hotel showing up. I know, it sounds a little bit what's going on with that. Think like night circus. One day the hotel will be in this place, then the next night it'll be in another place, and then the next night after that it'll be in a whole third place. So there's something magical about this hotel for sure. And Jenny is kind of swept away by this hotel. But as it turns out, there may be some dark secrets and something about, how do you say that? Maître d'hôtel? The leader of the hotel? Yes. The woman of the hotel. That made no sense. The director. Let's call it director. Yes. Who's not very nice. And I think her sister has also kind of been taken hostage or something by them. It's not really mentioned in the synopsis, but it's kind of implied that she's been taken by this maître d'hôtel. So, with the help from a doorman, a very handsome and charming doorman, she takes it upon herself to both free people from this hotel, including her sister, and it's a dangerous mission. But I think that's what this book is about. I'm excited. A magical hotel sounds super intriguing. I believe it's also a debut. I'm not really sure though, but I just looked it up and it is, so congratulations to Emily J. Taylor. Next one is one that I bought purely because people were raving about it. This was a social media buy, and it's The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is an adult contemporary romance, and I'm excited to read this. I'm so happy that they changed the covers, because if they didn't, I would not have this in my hand right now, for sure. The original cover is just everything I hate about adult contemporary covers. Well, almost. At least he's wearing a suit. Sometimes they don't, the guys on the covers, and that's just worse. But anyway, not really sure what this is about other than a grumpy boss who runs entertainment parks and a woman who's hired to fix Dreamland, which is what this entertainment park is called, to fix their most expensive ride. It's about Rowan and Zara. I'm excited. Yes, I've heard so many good things about this. And also the sequel. Some people say the sequel, Terms and Conditions, is better than this one, which is why I've also ordered it. Impulse purchases. I can't help it. But I don't have it on me right now, so we'll go through that one the next time. But that was all. I think that was 21 books. I just counted them. Expect another book haul in a couple of months. I have been purchasing fewer books than I did at the end of the last year, but I think that's for the best because my bookcases are getting filled up and I don't have more space in the apartment. So I probably should slow down a little bit. But you can expect another book haul sometime within the next couple of months again. But I hope you all enjoyed this one. If you've read any of the books that I talked about today, let me know what you thought of them. Again, you can find links to them on both Book Depository and US Amazon in the description box down below. But that is all I got for you guys today, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Feel free to hit the thumbs up if you did. And if you want to hang out with me and everyone in the comments and talk about books and nerd out about books, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. And that is all, so I hope you all enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!